Good evening, guys. So I'm going to delve into a little bit deeper how I came up with my climate plan for my terrarium. Now this is from the article by Mohammed Sharif Khan. Let's go to the top of it. Leopard Gecko Eublepharis macularis from Pakistan. Yeah, by Mohammed Sharif Khan, who is a zoologist, biologist, scientist, lecturer. He's probably retired now, but anyway, he is an expert in herpetology, and he wrote this article in, when did he write it? 2009. There we go, January 2009. So I've just looked now at, so this is worth looking at, guys. It's available on ResearchGate, and if you Google Scholar it as well. So just Google Scholar and type in the search engine Leopard Gecko or Leopard Gecko and Mohammed Sharif Khan. It should come up. Yeah. It may also be available on the Advancing Herpetological Facebook group if you're a member of that. Then you can access. But it is available for free online, so it's worth having a look. So introduction. So there is 41 species and subspecies of geckos known from Pakistan. So Pakistan alone. Yeah. So the leopard gecko is the largest. Anyway, I'm getting the most robust and hardy species. So when the female lays her eggs and they incubate naturally in the wild and hatch, the babies are left to fend for themselves. They're not brought up by a mother. So I find that quite fascinating, really. I think there's quite a lot of other reptiles that are like that as well. But that probably explains why leopard geckos are so hardy, because they're not, they're not taught by their mothers. They're taught literally by themselves in their wild environments. So they have to kind of like quickly adapt and whatnot. Okay, so what I want to look at is the area, sort of habitat areas. So widely distributed in Pakistan, figure 13, that was the map I was looking at earlier. So from plains to the sub-Himalayan foothills and the Balochistan tableland up to 2,500 meters elevation. Into Pakistan, subcontinent, and then there's different species in other areas of Pakistan. Excuse the dog barking in the background, folks. Right, so several species and subspecies in Afghanistan, Bombay, India. So that's like a subspecies of the leopard gecko again. Delhi, India. Karachi in Pakistan, Punjab. So all across Pakistan, really, the leopard geckos are active. And the design of my terrarium is based on the kind of like the Salt Range Hills in Pakistan. So, and a section of Nepal known as the Bank District, where they've been found hibernating in trees. So I'm going to just have a look. Diagnosis, natural history notes, natural habitat of the fat-tailed gecko, stony countryside, scrubby vegetation, Salt Range, there we go. That's where it's mentioned there, yeah. the Salt Range, Punjab, Pakistan. So if I... Potahar Plateau, that's another one. Yeah. So I have mentioned this in several of my videos that I've been trying to replicate the Potahar Plateau. And then basically, so I Google Earthed the Potahar Plateau. So I had a look on Google Earth, I think it was, or Google Earth Pro. We'll get onto that in a sec. But let's just have a look at the... So it says here also that they can be semi-arboreal and hide in the loose tree bark. There is another study, another academic article on leopard geckos in Nepal. That's a really interesting one. So between the two, between that one and this one, it's kind of influenced the design of the terrarium when I've looked at the information about its habitat and the sort of their behaviours. So then I looked at weather data from a particular, just a random place within their sort of habitat range of Pakistan, Salt Hill Range. I picked just a random little village and got the weather data from there. And then that's based around the climate plan. So distribution, figure 13. The leopard gecko is reported from Rajputana and Khandesh districts of India. In Pakistan, it has been recorded from Azad Kashmir, Northwestern Frontier Province, Punjab, Balochistan and Sindh. It has been reported from parts of Iran and Afghanistan bordering Pakistan. So that is really, really interesting. And here's the what I was saying before. Hatchlings are not cared for by parents. Rather, they are always under constant threat of being preyed upon by adults. So that's interesting. Okay, so want to look for... Okay. Now let's go back to, so here we go. This is so Muhammad Sharif Khan conducted this study into their kind of habitats. He said that they hide in crevices and burrows amongst rocks and stones and walls, stone walls. So this kind of like the slate rockery that I have built in the terrarium is, and I'm just recording a video. Okay. I'm just recording something on here. I'll be there in a sec. So yeah, so that kind of resembles in a way the slate, because I've noticed during the day he likes to hide in the slate crevices and comes out to bask on top of the slate and at dusk. Anyway, I'm slightly going on a tangent here. So if I go to... So yeah, I would really, really, really recommend a read of this article, folks. If you keep leopard geckos and you're interested in advancing their husbandry, learning about their anatomy and their wild habitats and so on, definitely look at this article. So here we have a picture of leopard gecko natural habitat in Islamabad province in Pakistan. almost looks like a dried up river. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Right, so where was that map that I had it before? Scorpions, you see, in the wild, they eat scorpions. Yeah, a favourite dietary item. So they must be immune to scorpion stings, or I don't know how they defend themselves from scorpion stings. Maybe they grab the scorpion by the head and shake it, rattle it like, crazy, to the point where the sting drops off, perhaps. But yeah, favourite dietary item is a scorpion. And I mean, not that I'm going to add that to my list of feeders. I wouldn't like to get stung myself by a scorpion. But knowing what Mr. Jinx is like with eating other large insects, such as locusts and spiders, there is no doubt in my mind that he would go for a scorpion if it was in there. He definitely would go for it. They are opportunistic hunters. So he would well tackle a scorpion. But, yeah, that's not going to happen for me. Right, so let's go down. Here we go. Here's the map. Yeah, so on the left here we have Pakistan. Yeah, Afghanistan, part of Afghanistan there, and towards this area here is Iran. And then here we have India, northern India and western India, northwestern India, and Tibet, Himalayas, and China and whatnot. So these black dots is the range of leopard geckos in Pakistan. And there's a lot of them, so they're widely distributed, and especially they're more kind of intensely distributed in the northern part of Pakistan bordering the Himalayas. So based on that information, right, we're now going to go onto Google Earth Pro, which is this tool here. And basically what I did was, so I found Pakistan on the map, which is here, this area here, and there's Islamabad. So that was where there was a picture in the document, and there's a high concentration of leopard geckos in this whole kind of region here. And if we zoom in again, I just picked a random little village somewhere called Nali. I tell you what, if I search for it, it'll come up, and that'll make life a lot easier. Nali, Pakistan. Search. There we go. Okay. So I was just, kind of like rooting around, and then I just picked this random place. And if we zoom in, well, if we look, we can see the kind of the mountains and the scrublands and the kind of arid terrain, and the, there's quite sort of dense scrubland in places. So kind of rough terrain. If we kind of zoom in even further, you can see all these kind of rocky kind of ravines and whatnot. So if I just look at that. So this is kind of like the, I would say the northern Salt Hill Range. So that's the sort of environment that they can live in the wild in Pakistan. But then the other article, so that just gives us an idea of the topography of their wild habitat. Yeah. And basically, so I based the climate. Obviously, I couldn't get weather data from, like, say, a particular spot in this area. But it gives us a good idea of the kind of terrain. Yeah. And then Nali was the closest village to this area. So if I just go back, so there's Nali. And what I did was I just got weather data. So from Google, or I just found weather data from Nali over a period of time. And then I collated the data to illustrate, like, the hours of sun, the months of the year, temperature, humidity, and so on, all throughout the year. And then from that information, I was able to adjust my digital timers according to the daylight and nighttime cycle in Nali. So that is why every month I change my timers a little bit to mimic the climate in Nali. So if we just do a run, if I just go on to what was it? Sunrise in Nali. Pakistan. $5:57, yeah, at this time in September. Okay. Sunset. Ten past 6. So the digital timers, I think, are approximate to those times. So that's his LED light. So if we look at the time there now, it's about 10 o'clock. If I go to program, so in the morning, they come on 10 past 6 in the morning. Yeah, that's when the LED lights come on. So sunrise was about 5 a.m, wasn't it? No, sorry, 20th of September, say 6 a.m. in the morning. So then the heat light, which is this one here, will come on at around about that time, and then it'll stay on for, because otherwise I'd be changing them daily, and that would just be too much of a faff. So every month, at the beginning of each month, I adjust these timers according to the climate plan, and I have got the actual data written down on a sheet of paper somewhere, somewhere amongst all this clutter. There it is. Right, this piece of paper. I need to get this on a computer document, because it is starting to get creased, and I'll probably lose it. So yeah, here we are. This is the weather data from Nali in Pakistan over a typical year. Yeah, typical year. So it's got the days. So January. So this here is the temperature. Yeah, daytime temperature in January is 21, which is fairly warm. Yeah. December is 24 degrees. And then this is where, you know, so sunrise and sunset. Now, I rounded these off to kind of like the nearest 15 minutes, just to make it easier, really, with the timer. So we're in September now. So, yeah, 5:45 in the morning, the heat light comes on. So that's like sunrise. And at about 6:10 in the morning, the other lights come on. So it gives it about half an hour for the sun to kind of rise. And then the other lights will come on to make the full sun light conditions. Obviously, they're not exact to the sun, because that would be quite dangerous in a terrarium. But yeah, that's the idea of it anyway. So there we go, guys. That is how I figured that out. So definitely look at the document by Mohammed Khan. That's another document, and that's another document where Anyway, that document that I had up a second ago, by Mohammed